Hello again and welcome back. Welcome to class 372, page 356. Muchos 300 aquí. So let's finish irregular verbs and continue to talk about my uncle, mi tío. Voy a hablar un poco de mi tío. I'm going to talk a little bit about my uncle, but for the moment, build. Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. Roma no fue construido en un solo día. Rome wasn't built in a day. This is an expression in English similar to the Spanish expression, no Zamora, or no se ganó Zamora en una hora, or something like that. No fue conquistada Zamora en una hora. Rome wasn't built in a day. Everything takes time. Everything takes time, including reaching a good level of English. It takes time and an effort. Rome wasn't built in a day. Caught, catch, caught, choose, chose. Richard, why did you choose the profession of English teaching? I didn't choose it. It chose me. What? I didn't choose English teaching as a profession. English teaching chose me. I became an English teacher basically by accident. And I became an English entrepreneur, emprendedor, by accident. Yes. 50% of all companies are created by accident, not by plan. You find yourself, I started teaching English to make money. I needed to pay the rent. So I started teaching English, and after 3 months, people wanted English classes with me, more and more people. And I needed more teachers, and presto, I had a company. Sometimes they happen by accident. I didn't choose English teaching. English teaching chose me. And did you choose those pencils? No, Marta chose them. But the company bought them. Marta chose the pencils. But she only bought 10. And so I told Marta to go back and buy an identical 10 pencils, additional pencils. And she said, why? I said, because I need 2 black pencils, I need 2 pink pencils, because otherwise, porque de otra manera, otherwise I can't teach the plural. You see, you can't teach the plural. The black pencils, the black ones are in my right hand. The blue ones are in the cup. The pink ones, so I need 2 of each. So, but in any case, cut, deal, dealt. I deal with teachers every day. I started dealing with English teachers in 1974, and I have dealt with many different types of people. Sobre la psicología humana, conozco mucho, sé mucho. Why? I'm not a psychologist, but I know a lot about human psychology. Why? Because I have dealt with so many people. In my business, I've dealt with clients. I've dealt with administrators. I've dealt with teachers. And I've dealt with human resources people. Oh, yeah. So I've dealt with a lot of people. To deal with is tratar con. I deal with Marta every day. Yeah. I deal with a lot of people every day. I've dealt with people all my life. In my next life, I'm going to look for a different type of job. In my next life, I'm not going to be an English teacher. I'm going to find a profession in which I don't need to deal with people. Really, that's difficult. I've dealt with so many problem people in my life that I'm tired of dealing with people. So in my next life, I'm going to choose a profession in la cual, I'm going to choose, voy a escoger, I'm going to choose a profession in which I don't need to deal with people. Richard, it's difficult to find a profession in which you don't need to deal with people. Well, maybe I can become a music composer. Well, a music composer needs to deal with record companies, discográficas, record companies. They need to deal with For example, if you make music for films, you need to deal with the film director, the producer, and the screenwriter, the script writer. You need to deal with a lot of people. It's impossible, Richard, to find a profession in which you don't need to deal with people. And you need to deal with the tax man. Oh, that's right. Tendré que tratar con el fisco, right? Yeah, you have to pay taxes. Yeah, but I don't need to deal personally with the tax man. Listen, Richard, forget it. In your next life, you're not going to find a profession in which you don't need to deal with people. I understand that you've dealt with a lot of complicated people, but it's unavoidable. You can't avoid it. It's unavoidable. You can't avoid it. To deal with, all right, my uncle. Ya está. My uncle. He's still alive, by the way. Yeah, my uncle. He lives in San Antonio, Texas. You know, the San Antonio Spurs, the basketball team. He lives in San Antonio. He's married. Okay. Oh, really? He's married. Ask me who he's married to. Richard, yeah. Excuse me? Ask me who he's married to. Who? My uncle. Oh. Who is your uncle married to or with? To. Okay. Who's your uncle married to? He's married to Louise, his wife. Ah. Are they married? Well, yes, they're married. They haven't divorced yet. Oh, are they going to divorce? No, they're not. Are they happy together? Well, they don't live together. Excuse me. Does your uncle live with his wife? Excuse me? What do you want to know? I want to know if your uncle lives with his wife. No, he doesn't. Oh, are they separated? Excuse me? What do you want to know? I want to know if they are. If they are. So la pregunta es, are they? La pregunta directa. I want to know if they are separated. Well, physically, yes, but not really. They're not separated legally. But do they get along? Excuse me? Do they get along? What do you want to know? I want to know if your aunt and uncle get along. Siempre se dice aunt and uncle, pero tus tíos. Quiero saber si tus tíos se llevan bien. Fíjate, tíos en inglés no existe el plural de esta palabra. Aunt and uncle. Aunt and uncle. Se dice tía y tío. Y así nunca se dice uncle and aunt. Sounds strange. Es como decir raya y cruz. You know, cruz y raya. Okay. So, do your aunt and uncle get along? I don't remember. What does get along mean? What does get along mean? Excuse me, what do you want to know? I want to know what get along means. Oh, repeat the direct question. What does get along mean? Get along means llevarse bien con. Oh, llevarse bien. Oh, do your aunt and uncle get along? Yes, they do. Why don't they live together? Excuse me, what do you want to know? I'm asking you, una máscara? No, I'm asking you, anda, entendió máscara. I'm asking you, ahora te entiendo, I'm asking you. Claro, yo enlazo cuando hablo inglés, como Dios manda, ¿no? I'm asking you why they don't live together. Who? Your aunt and uncle. Oh, so you want to know why they don't live together? Yes, I want to know why they don't live together. Well, because they live, well, because my aunt takes care of the house. She lives in the house in the city of San Antonio. And my uncle lives on his ranch. Oh, does your uncle have a ranch? Excuse me? Does your uncle have a ranch? I can't hear you. What do you want to know? I want to know if your uncle has a ranch. Oh, you want to know if my uncle has a ranch? Yes, I told you. He lives on his ranch. So, Your uncle has a house in San Antonio and a ranch. Yes, un rancho. Is your uncle a cowboy? Yes, not really. No, he's not a cowboy. But where is his ranch? Excuse me? Where is your uncle's ranch? I can't hear you. What do you want to know? I want to know where your uncle's ranch is. Ah, you want to know where my uncle's ranch is? Yes, I want to know where his ranch is. Well, ask me. Where is it? Where's what? Where is your uncle's ranch? Oh, it's just outside of San Antonio. Just outside of San Antonio. What do you mean, just outside? Well, it's about 3 miles outside of San Antonio. 3 miles. How much is that in kilometers? How much is 3 miles in kilometers? Excuse me, what do you want to know? I want to know how much 3 miles is in kilometers. It's about 5 kilometers. So it's very close. Well, so they don't live together, your aunt and uncle. No, they don't. What does your uncle do? Well, how often do they see each other? Excuse me? How often do your aunt and uncle see each other? They see each other every day. Every day. But your uncle lives on his ranch, porque es un terreno, una tierra. He lives on. He lives on the ranch, and his wife lives in the house in San Antonio. How far? How far is it from the ranch to the house? Excuse me? How far is it from the ranch to the house? What do you want to know? I want to know how far it is. Al revés, it is. From the ranch to the house. It's about 30 minutes, maybe. Not too far. About 30 minutes. It's about, I don't know, 15 miles. How much is 15 miles in kilometers? I don't know, about 24, 25 kilometers. It's not too far. But every day, when do they see each other? Excuse me? When do they see each other? They see each other for breakfast. So your uncle and your aunt and uncle have breakfast together. Yes, they have breakfast together. Where? On the ranch or in the house? No, my uncle drives to the house to have breakfast with his wife, Louise. And then he goes back to the ranch. But, okay. But what does he do? What? What does he do? What does he do? Yeah, excuse me? What do you want to know? I want to know what your uncle does. You want to know what my uncle does? ¿Cómo que what? Yeah, for a living. ¿Quieres saber a qué se dedica? Yeah, what does your uncle do? He has a business. He has his own company. I have my own company. You have your own company. She has her own company. My uncle has his own company. Oh, so your uncle owns a company? Yes. My uncle is propietario. My uncle owns a company. What kind of company does your uncle own? Excuse me, what do you want to know? I want to know what kind of company your uncle owns. Oh, repeat the question. What time does your uncle, what time, no, what kind of company, me leo yo, what kind of company does your uncle own? He owns an irrigation equipment company. A what? An irrigation equipment company. Irrigation. Irrigación. Bueno, riego agrícola. We say irrigation. Regar un jardín is to water the garden, to water the grass. Pero regar en zonas de regadío agrícola, that's irrigation. So my uncle owns a company that sells and implements or builds irrigation equipment. Oh, and where does he have his company? In San Antonio. Where in San Antonio? On the ranch. So the ranch is the headquarters of the company. Yes. All right. And is it an important company? Well, it's a medium-sized company. And is your uncle, is your uncle rich? Que si tengo un tío rico. I have a rich uncle. No. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's rich or not. But he's not having problems, no. Well, how many cars does he have? Excuse me? How many cars does he have? What do you want to know? I want to know how many cars your uncle has. Oh, he has 4 cars. 4 cars? Yes, he has 4 cars. Does he need 4 cars? No, he doesn't need 4 cars. Well, why does he have 4 cars? Because he wants to. Porque quiere. Oh, he wants to. Well, what kind of cars does he have? Well, he has a Cadillac. A what? Cadillac, un Cadillac. It's a big luxury car. A Cadillac. He has a Mercedes-Benz. He has a Volkswagen, and he has a dune buggy. A what? He has a dune buggy. What's a dune buggy? Dune, escrito dune, son las dunas en el desierto o en la playa. Buggy es un cochecito to drive on the dunes. Yeah. So your uncle has basically 4 toys. Well, he has 4 cars. Oh, and toys as well. Why does how old is your uncle? He's 83. And why does he have toys? Well, he got married when he was very young. How old was your uncle when he got married? Excuse me, what do you want to know? I want to know how old your uncle was. I want to know how old your uncle was when he got married. Really? Yes. He was 17. 17? Yeah, he was 17 when he got married. No kidding. Really? Yeah. How old was Louise, his wife? Is Louise his first wife? Yes, Louise is his first and only wife. Well, how old was she when they got married? Excuse me? What do you want to know? I want to know how old Louise was when your uncle, got married. She was 20. So Louise is 3 years older. Yeah, 2.5, 3 years older. And why did she marry your uncle who was only 17? Because I think my uncle was a good catch. Yes. It was what you call in Spanish un encerrón. My uncle, when he was, where was your uncle, where was your uncle living when he was 17? My uncle was living in San Antonio with his parents and my mother and my other uncle. Yeah, but so did he meet Louise in San Antonio? No, he didn't. Where did he meet Louise? Excuse me? Where did he meet Louise, his wife, future wife? I can't hear you. What do you want to know? I want to know where he met his future wife, Louise. He met her in Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi? Cuerpo de Cristo. Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi es una fecha. Yes, but in Texas, Corpus Christi is a city. Is it a big city? Well, now it's about 300,000 people. It's a beautiful city on the coast, on the Gulf of Mexico. And what was your uncle doing in Corpus Christi? He was attending a camp, un campamento de jóvenes, adolescentes. He was 17. And what was Louise doing? She was 20. Well, she was a camp counselor, monitora. She was a camp counselor. And her mother was the director of the camp. And Louise saw my uncle, and she said, he's the most beautiful young man I've seen in my life. And she told her mother, and the mother and daughter, like like you say in Ferrona, I mean, and he got married when he was 17 or 18, I'm not sure. Poor guy. He got married very, very young. They said, this boy is not going to escape us, mother and daughter. All right. And so, but 1 year later, well, he had to start working. He didn't finish school. He didn't finish secondary school. And then he started working, and his first job was working in the fields, putting together irrigation equipment. Yes, en lo que es montaje y ensamblaje de equipos de riego agrícola, putting together. And then the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. He had to go to the Army. He went to the Army Air Corps, Cuerpo Aéreo del Ejército, when he was 18 or 19. And they sent him to New Guinea, Nueva Guinea, in the Pacific, in the South Pacific. And he contracted a tropical disease similar to malaria. And he spent 2 years in a military hospital. He didn't fight in the war. He was a pilot. He didn't fight in the war because he was in a military hospital. When the war was over, he went back to Texas and started working again in the fields, in los campos. Hasta hoy, until today. So they don't have any children. So I don't have any cousins. Primos no tengo. I don't have any cousins. So, but I have one cousin, but from the other uncle. And my father was an only child. Hijo único, se dice en inglés, only child. My father's only child, so I don't have any cousins except one. But that's the story of my uncle. Yes, that's what he does for a living. And when did he start working in the irrigation business? Well, he started working in the irrigation business when he was 18 years old. Yeah, but does he have his own company? Excuse me? Does your uncle have his own company? Si tiene su propia empresa. What do you want to know? I want to know if your uncle has his own company. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. What's the name of the company? Excuse me? What's the name of the company? I can't hear you. What do you want to know? I want to know what the name of the company is. The name of the company is Cross B. Cross B. Cruz B. Es una cruz con una B. It looks quite interesting. You have the cross and then the letter B. Cross B. And why is it called Cross B? Well, it's called Cross B because my grandmother's last name is Crosby. Like Bing Crosby? Crosby? Bing Crosby? And so he took the name Crosby and changed it to Cross B. And so the logo is a cross with a B. Es una B con cruz. All right? Cross B. That's an irrigation company. All right. Hey, by the way, Richard. Yeah. Is this story true? Is everything you said true? Excuse me? I can't. What do you want to know? I want to know if everything you said is true. Yes, it is. Except one thing. So, you told one lie. Yeah, one thing is not true. What's not true? Excuse me? What's not true? What do you want to know? I want to know what isn't true. It's not true that my uncle is 83 years old. And my aunt. My uncle died about 10 years ago. And my aunt about 15 years ago. So that part is not true. but I didn't want to speak in the past tense. I wanted to speak in the present tense. He owns a company. Where does he live, etc. Now tomorrow I can recapitulate and I can tell the story a second time, all in the past tense. But today I wanted to speak in the present tense and in the past. In the present and the past. All right. Interesting story, the story of my uncle. Where does he live? What does he do for a living? How often does he visit his wife? What time of the day does he visit his wife? How many horses does he have on his ranch? He has 5 horses on his ranch. How many cows does he have on his ranch? Only 2. How many spiders does he have on his ranch? ¿Cuántas arañas? He has 1 big spider, but that's a story for another day. I have to go. Hey, it's been a pleasure. Ha sido un placer. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow. Take care.